Good morning, guys. How have you been? I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we are going into another piece of official writing or business writing, which is inter-office memorandum. Inter-office memorandum. Scary? It's memo. That is MEMO. Inter-office memorandum is abbreviated as memo. This is another form of official or business communication, which we'll be discussing now. So there are many communications which happen within one institution or within one office itself. So for that, there need not be any very elaborate letters to be written, but they would have to be recorded also, since the requirement would have to be somehow recorded so that their responses and the kind of communication that happens between the employees of an institution is actually recorded for future references. So in this scenario, a memo or an inter-office memorandum is used. Imagine that a superior of an office has to communicate something to the other officers. Or imagine that when two people are working on a project together in the same office, they need to communicate something officially which needs to be recorded. Or imagine that an officer needs the suggestions of his employees regarding some matter. So in all these cases, some form of written communication so that it can be recorded would be needed. This brief form of written communication can be called a memo or an inter-office memorandum. So the structure of a memo is not that different from that of a letter. The only thing is that it's very brief and simpler than that of an long official letter. So it would have a letterhead of the company, of course, and beneath that letterhead it would have been written inter-office memorandum or memo, and beneath that the sender to details would be there, to whom the memo is being sent, and the sender's information would be there, and also the subject line, and also on the top right side there would be the date and the reference number, so that it can be looked up in future. So on the top there's the date and reference number, then the then the sender, then the subject and the matter very briefly, and beneath that the signing off. And that's the basic structure of an inter-office memorandum. That's quite similar to that of a letter, but it's very brief, because most of the time there need not be that much of information that is to be shared, but whatever is to be shared would have to be very brief and short. So imagine that the boss or the CEO of a company wants to inform the people in the company that the sales is very less and you should be working harder. So there will be a letterhead with all the details of the company on the top. Inter-office memorandum would be written. There would be a reference number, and to would be to all employees of the company, and from would be from the manager or the CEO, and then the subject line, decrease in sales in this month or that. And in the letter it will be written like, dear employees, it has been noted that the sales has decreased during this month, so I urge all of you to work a bit harder on your targets and attain better sales, and with regards, CEO. So the signing off. So this can be a memo, inter-office memorandum. This can be the structure of a memo. Memos are written to inform, to ask for suggestions, to correct or even scold people at times. Sometimes some employees may not be working properly, so a superior might give a memo to another employee, so to chastise them, to scold them, to correct them. So asking for explanation, a memo can be written, or thanking, a memo can be written. So for many such purposes, memos can be written, and their structure is now understood. And when writing a memo, it should be very clear. The message should be very clear. You should get to the message immediately. You need not beat around the bush. You should get to the message immediately, and no additional information is required. Only the desired information should be there, and it should be as simple as possible. And some companies prefer very informal memos, like so that there is a personal connection between the employees. But some companies keep it very professional and use very professional language. So it depends on the organization whether the language is formal or slightly informal. So these are inter-office memorandums or memos. So these are used for inter-office communication between the workers or employees in the same organization, and it can be used for many purposes. And its structure is very similar to that of a letter, but it's more briefer and simpler. I hope inter-office memorandum or memo is clear to you, and I'll be sharing some samples of it in future. You can see those, or you just go to the internet and search for sample memos or sample inter-office memorandums, and you will find as many as you want. This is a very simple form of official communication, but this will be very helpful if you learn that these are there. Even in an educational institution, memos can be given. Imagine that some kind of fee has to be paid. The administration can send a memo to the students. Or imagine that students have been noticed to violate some law in the institution, in the college. Some memo can be sent to those students who have violated the rules in the college. So similarly, for inter-organizational conversations or communication, memos can be used. So I hope the idea is clear. Thank you for listening, and do definitely search up some memos or inter-office memorandums online so that you have an idea of their structure. Okay, thank you very much. On the 21st, I believe, is your exam. So prepare really well. I had given my topics earlier in the stream of the classroom. Only 2 topics, technical proposals and diary, I believe. Just confirm in the Google Classroom stream that I had posted which my portions would be, and confirm with Harish sir also which his portions would be, and prepare really well. I believe the time would be 9:30, I believe. But again, we will be notifying you about the precise timings. So be prepared for the exams. Thank you for listening. All the best and stay safe. Keep social distancing and wash your hands, wear a mask, stay safe. Thank you very much, guys. All the best.